Iron Man 3, 2013, Tony Stark's struggle with identity and trauma. Introduction. Iron Man 3, released in 2013 and directed by Shane Black, is the third installment in the Iron Man franchise and the seventh film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU. This film follows Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr., as he grapples with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, in the aftermath of the events of The Avengers, 2012. It explores themes of identity, vulnerability, and the consequences of past actions. With a more personal focus on Tony Stark, Iron Man 3 provides a deeper look into the man behind the Iron Man armor, while delivering thrilling action sequences and surprising plot twists. In this article, we'll dive into the film's plot, characters, themes, production, and its place within the larger MCU narrative. Plot overview. The film opens with Tony Stark reflecting on past mistakes, starting with a flashback to 1999. At a New Year's Eve party in Switzerland, Stark meets scientist Maya Hansen, Rebecca Hall, and Aldrich Killian, Guy Pearce, an ambitious but physically disabled scientist seeking Stark's support for his Advanced Idea Mechanics, AIM, project. Stark dismisses Killian, setting off a chain of events that will come back to haunt him. In the present day, Stark is a different man after the events of the Battle of New York, depicted in The Avengers. He suffers from severe anxiety and PTSD, triggered by his near-death experience during the alien invasion. Unable to sleep, he obsessively builds new Iron Man suits as a coping mechanism. Distancing himself from his girlfriend Pepper Potts, Gwyneth Paltrow. The world is under threat from a terrorist known as the Mandarin, Ben Kingsley, who claims responsibility for a series of bombings. Stark's friend, Happy Hogan, Jon Favreau, is severely injured in one of the attacks, prompting Stark to issue a televised challenge to the Mandarin. Shortly after, Stark's home is attacked and destroyed by helicopter gunships, forcing him to flee and leaving him without his suits or resources. Stranded in Tennessee, Stark teams up with a young boy named Harley Keener, Ty Simpkins, to investigate the Mandarin's attacks. Stark discovers that the bombings are linked to Extremis, a regenerative treatment developed by AIM that enhances human abilities but causes some subjects to explode when the treatment fails. As Stark digs deeper, he learns that the Mandarin is actually an actor named Trevor Slattery, hired by Aldrich Killian to pose as the terrorist. Killian is revealed to be the true mastermind behind the attacks, having perfected Extremis and turned it into a weapon. He seeks revenge on Stark for humiliating him years earlier and plans to use Extremis to dominate the world, while also capturing Pepper and subjecting her to the Extremis treatment. In the climactic battle, Stark, with the help of Colonel James Rhodes, War Machine, Don Cheadle, confronts Killian and his Extremis-enhanced soldiers. Stark activates his fleet of remote-controlled Iron Man suits, dubbed the House Party Protocol, to help in the fight. Pepper, who survives the Extremis treatment, uses her new abilities to defeat Killian. The film ends with Stark choosing to destroy all his Iron Man suits as a gesture of devotion to Pepper and his determination to move on from his reliance on the armor. He also undergoes surgery to remove the shrapnel near his heart, symbolizing his growth and readiness to move forward without the constant need for his suit. In the final scene, Stark reaffirms his identity, stating, "I am Iron Man," a callback to the first film. Characters: Tony Stark, Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. Tony Stark's journey in Iron Man 3 is centered on his struggle with trauma, anxiety, and the fear of losing control. Downey Jr. gives a more vulnerable performance as Stark deals with his inner demons. The film explores Stark's reliance on his armor and the question of whether Iron Man is the suit or the man inside it. Pepper Potts, Gwyneth Paltrow. Pepper plays a more active role in Iron Man 3, becoming a victim of Killian's Extremis experiment but later using the enhancements to defeat him. Her relationship with Tony is tested, but ultimately strengthened, as they both confront the challenges posed by Tony's PTSD and obsessive behavior. Aldrich Killian, Guy Pearce. Killian is the film's primary antagonist, seeking revenge on Tony Stark for dismissing him years earlier. His company, AIM, and his Extremis project allow him to create an army of superpowered soldiers. Killian's character embodies the dangers of unchecked ambition and the destructive power of feeling rejected. The Mandarin, Trevor Slattery, Ben Kingsley. The Mandarin is initially presented as a menacing and mysterious terrorist leader. However, the film subverts expectations by revealing that he is actually an actor named Trevor Slattery, hired by Killian to play the role of the Mandarin in a propaganda campaign. This twist was controversial among fans but added a layer of complexity to the villainous plot. James Rhodes, War Machine, Don Cheadle, Rhodes, now rebranded as Iron Patriot, plays a supporting role in helping Tony track down the Mandarin and stop Killian. He represents the traditional soldier, in contrast to Stark's more unconventional heroism. And their partnership is crucial in the final battle. Maya Hansen, Rebecca Hall. Hansen is the scientist who originally developed Extremis. Though she initially aids Killian, she becomes conflicted about the moral implications of her work. Hansen's character adds depth to the ethical considerations surrounding scientific advancements. Harley Keener, Ty Simpkins. Harley is a young boy who befriends Stark when he's stranded in Tennessee. Their relationship is a central emotional thread in the film, with Harley providing Stark with the perspective and inspiration he needs to rebuild himself. The dynamic between them humanizes Stark, allowing the audience to see his more compassionate side. Themes: identity and legacy. Iron Man 3 grapples with the question of identity, particularly for Tony Stark. Throughout the film, Stark is forced to confront whether he is defined by the Iron Man suit or by his own intelligence and resourcefulness. By the end, Stark realizes that he is Iron Man, not because of the suit, but because of who he is inside. Trauma and mental health. The film is one of the few superhero movies that directly addresses the psychological toll of being a hero. Stark's PTSD and anxiety attacks following the Battle of New York provide a grounded look at the emotional consequences of constantly facing life and death situations. The film portrays his struggle to cope with fear and vulnerability, offering a more human perspective on the superhero experience. Responsibility of power. The Extremis storyline raises questions about the responsibility of those who create and control advanced technologies. Both Stark and Killian are brilliant minds, but their paths diverge due to their differing ethical compasses. The film suggests that unchecked ambition, particularly when motivated by personal vendettas, can lead to catastrophic consequences. Redemption and growth. Both Tony Stark and Aldrich Killian are men shaped by their pasts. While Killian lets his rejection by Stark turn him into a villain, Stark's journey is one of redemption. By confronting his inner fears and letting go of his dependence on the suit, Stark achieves personal growth and closure. Production and visual effects. Direction by Shane Black. Known for his work in the buddy cop genre, Shane Black brought a distinct style to Iron Man 3. The film's tone is lighter in places, with sharp, witty dialogue, while also delving into darker themes such as PTSD. Black's direction, along with his co-writing of the script, provides a unique balance of humor and introspection. Visual effects and action sequences. Iron Man 3 features some of the most elaborate visual effects in the MCU at the time. The destruction of Stark's mansion and the aerial rescue sequence, where Iron Man saves passengers from a mid-air explosion, are standout moments. The House Party Protocol, which showcases dozens of autonomous Iron Man suits, is a visual spectacle that adds a sense of grandeur to the final battle. Practical effects and stunts. The film also made extensive use of practical effects and stunts, particularly in the sequence where Tony, stripped of his armor, uses his ingenuity and improvised gadgets to infiltrate Killian's mansion. This grounded approach contrasts with the more fantastical elements of the film, emphasizing Stark's resourcefulness. Reception and impact. Iron Man 3 Inches was a box office hit, grossing over $1.2 billion worldwide, making it one of the highest-grossing films of 2013. Critics praised Robert Downey Jr.'s performance, as well as the film's character-driven approach and Shane Black's direction. However, the Mandarin twist was divisive among comic book fans, as it subverted expectations for one of Iron Man's most iconic villains. Despite the controversy, Iron Man 3 Inches was a pivotal film for Tony Stark's character arc, setting the stage for his future role in the MCU. It offered a more introspective take on the superhero genre, addressing themes of trauma, identity, and redemption in a way that resonated with audiences. Legacy. Iron Man 3 marked the conclusion of Tony Stark's standalone films, but it also served as a transition point for the character within the larger MCU. Stark's arc in the film, his decision to destroy his suits and undergo surgery to remove the shrapnel near his heart, was a symbolic end to his journey of self-reliance on technology. However, his story continued to evolve in later films, particularly in Avengers, Age of Ultron, 2015, Captain America, Civil War, 2016, and ultimately, Avengers, Endgame, 2019, where Stark's evolution as a character came full circle.